Okay, this is going to be the second of my recordings concerning the visual appeal of resumes. What you should be seeing in front of you are two resumes. The one on the left we've already taken a look at in my previous recording, and the one on the right is another actual resume. Don't worry about the names or the contact information that's put there. All of that has been changed. All of that has been invented. The one on the left I'm going to use as an example of a good visual design, and the one on the right, not so much. In fact, it's pretty problematic in its visual design. And I want to use these as a way of talking about three particular elements that you want to keep in mind with your own resumes as far as trying to create an attractive and effective design. The first thing I would point to in the one on the left is that she uses a little device that's very simple and unfortunately often ignored, but it's also very powerful, particularly in a resume. And that's her use of bullets right here, these little black dots, in case you don't really know what a bullet is. But you can see that throughout the resume, when she has information to list, she breaks it down into bulleted points. And if you compare that to the one on the right, it's pretty easy to notice that there are absolutely no bulleted points whatsoever. Now, what bullets do is they separate information. They keep information discrete, distinct. They make information easy to find for a reader. They send the message that you have your information well organized, well structured, you have it under control, you know what's important, and you're going to make sure that you convey it to the reader in a way that makes it as easy as possible for the reader to know the essential information that you think the reader needs to know. Now, a problem over here on the right, particularly in this section here, is that this is what we would call a cluttered look under special event experience. It's kind of a shame because actually the content is good. It's a job that would require experience in managing special events, so she has that. But the look of the information is cluttered. Everything is squished together. Everything is scrunched together. And so it's pretty much impossible unless the reader is going to closely read the document and closely read that section. It's going to be very difficult for the reader to figure out, what's important here, what's significant here, what's the data that I need to know here. It's the writer's responsibility to sort that out, and one of the ways that writers do that is to use bulleted points. So if you use something like over here, 4 bulleted points, basically what you're saying is, okay, in this job here in the PSECU, there are 4 important aspects of my responsibility I need you to know, and here they are, all separate, all arranged in a way to make sense to you. Here it's, well, do the best you can sorting it out. Figure it out for yourself. And that just simply is not a good message to send to your reader. The second element to notice between the two is line spacing. If you look over here on the left, you'll notice that between each different category, each different section, and also within the different sections, that the writer uses line breaks, line spacing to separate information. And again, it compartmentalizes information. It puts it into a neat package. And that's the message that you want to send visually. You have enough control and enough understanding of your information that you can put it into sensible compartments. You know how to arrange things. You know how to put things together so that they're easy for the reader to find, to figure out whatever the reader needs to figure out. It's basically you're warehousing information. You're figuring out where to arrange things or where to put things. You're making sense of the data of your life. And that shows when you can break things up into compartments like this. And it also helps to distinguish information, distinguish one category from the next. And again, if you go over to the right, Nothing. You have a break here between the contact information and the data of the resume. And by the way, the setup for the contact information is downright awful. It's overkill with the arrows. You just need to be simple and conservative with that. But anyway, this is the heart and soul of the resume, the data, and there are absolutely no line breaks whatsoever. So again, everything is scrunched together. Visually, it appears that this document just has things jumbled together with no sense of structure, no sense of command over the order in which to put things. If you look closely at the document, there is a structure, but that's not the point. The point is to remind you of something I said before, that the first time readers look at these, typically they don't read these. They scan them. They take a quick look, which means the information that you want the reader to see needs to jump out. And here, nothing jumps out because everything is just sort of mashed together. And the third element, and actually the resume on the right does use this, but not to the extent and not to the effectiveness that the one on the left does. You'll notice that in the resume on the right, that at least for the category headings here, the writer does use bold facing. Basically, she changes the graphical nature of the text. She changes the appearance of the text. And bold facing is a classic way of doing that on a resume. So that's good. I mean, bold facing, you can probably figure out from the name, bold, calls attention to itself. So typically you're going to use that for something that you want the reader to notice easily. And she also bold faces her name, but that with the introducing and the unusually large font, again, that seems overkill. Here in the body, it's fine. But because everything is so jumbled together, it still doesn't emerge as well as it can. And if you go over to the left, quite different. First of all, she uses a variety of graphical changes to the text. She uses bold facing up here at Clarion University of Pennsylvania. And I'll also point out too that when she does boldface, she uses it consistently. She uses it when she wants to identify, call attention to the places where she worked. No, Clarion University is a university, it's a school, but it is a place where she has done school work. So it is a place of work. And she only uses boldface to identify those segments of her resume. Consistency. Consistency is good. She also uses italics. You see italics in intern, intern assistant manager, server hostess, resident assistant. And again, she uses it consistently. She uses it to identify job titles, and only for job titles. She doesn't use italics for job title and then also use it for something that just simply is not related to a job title. She uses it consistently. She doesn't shift away from that particular formatting. Sometimes people will do this. They'll change to a new category and feel like they have to change the formatting. No. Be consistent throughout. Main heading, main heading. Notice the headings all look the same, all in red, all underlined, same font. Red, underlined, same font, same size. Consistency. When she identifies her job titles, italics, italics, shift to a new category, nevertheless, italics, italics, consistency. The bullets are aligned. Again, when referring to a place where she works, all of them are bold-faced. It's that consistency in conjunction with the varied use of changing the textual appearance, changing the graphical appearance of the text. That's what makes the one on the left. Actually, it's not any one thing. It's a combination of all three. Spacing, bullets, and a good use of changing the textual appearance of her resume. All three of those combine to make an attractive visual design for a resume. I look at this resume on the left and I have a feeling that just on a visual effect, I get the sense that the information is well organized, well structured. The writer has command of her experience, so I'm going to think positively of her even immediately. And for my own personal benefit as a reader, I'm going to think, okay, information is arranged sensibly, it's arranged carefully, makes my job easier, makes it easier for me to find stuff. Whereas over here on the right, finding stuff would be something of a nightmare. Even though it's only one page, and as I said, the content is good, there's very little in this first one. Actually, there's pretty much nothing in this one over here on the right that makes me want to read it. There's virtually nothing here that's inviting about it visually. I'm much more inclined to take my time, or at least think positively of the one on the left than I am on the right. So again, in summary, to finish up this particular presentation, what you want to be careful of, what you want to be alert to in creating an attractive visual design in your resumes. First, if you have elements to list, and you almost certainly will, use bullets. And use them consistently, make sure they're in alignment. Secondly, make sure you use line breaks to separate information into compartments. And third, don't be reluctant to use or to change the appearance of the text in order to call attention to certain things. Use it reasonably sparingly. You don't want to overwhelm the reader with this stuff, otherwise the document gets to be too busy. But if you use it carefully and consistently, again, that can create or help create an attractive visual appearance to the text.